Sup, Chaos1072 here for another Chaos review. Today, taking a look at Gashapon Series 7 and 8. Now, why am I doing this? And this is clearly DX Toucon Boost, because I can show off what the Gashapon version of that looks like, and here's the other three. And if you're wondering why these two particular guy memories are on top of these particular icons, it's because I'll talk about this one, and this is a bit of a gag, but there's a bit of a correlation between these two, besides kind of being just a blue, is that when Takeru used Ryoma, he loudly exclaimed, "Uchu Kita," because space. So anyway, let's go over the two main ones here, the ones that, if you didn't get the Sunglass Slasher, this is one of your few ways of getting it. And here we have 08 Goemon, who is a kabuki actor who was also apparently a ninja. And as we can see, it is a ghost icon, well, 4 ghosts. 08, and because it is Gashapon, it is a very hearty click and non-metallic shell. And someone had commented in my last video about non-DX icons, and that there is a bit of a textile feel difference between Gashas and DXs. Now, that's not something you can see in a picture, but it is something that, while playing with it, you may notice. So, we have 08, the face, and a finisher which is, I believe it's supposed to be coins and a sword, since Goemon was a samurai. And a fun fact about Goemon, don't put it near Nobunaga. It is possible, not confirmed, but it may be, it might have been a thing that Goemon here tried to assassinate Oda Nobunaga, the same Nobunaga that is in the Eyecons series. So that is a thing. And let's do the sounds. Let's get our handy dandy spooky driver. So, Henshin. Now, if I remember, it's something along the lines of kabuki and breaking the law or something. And yes, you get a very yellow form. So let's do the finisher. And the Omedama. And we'll keep him in the driver for now. Now let's take a look at 09 Ryoma. Again, another ghost icon. 09, now, I, like a lot of people, I'm aware that the DX version of this, which came with the Sunglass Slasher, just like 08 Goemon, because this... Actually, let me take it out. The 0 and the 9 look so familiar, and the fact that they have the exact same eye. Production error kept happening, or not all the time, but happened where this sticker would be the 8. And can you really blame them? I mean, there's just a tiny little notch separating the two, and if You did get a DX, and I think some places might be able to kind of work out a means of you getting a proper icon. I mean, the only difference is a sticker. But worst case scenario, if you just don't have the patience, the time, or the money, just open this up by unscrewing these 4 screws, popping the white off, and then you'll have, I'll call it the core, and then just take a little black marker and just run a line through it. Easy fix. So, take a look at the face. Oh, and sorry, I did not take a good look at the face. It is a kabuki face. Here we have a dragon, one of my favorite helmet designs. As we can see, the dragon head, the whiskers of the dragon, the horns of the dragon, forming a nice faceplate. And here we have a gun. Now, Ryoma was also a swordsman, and by the way, this is not Sengoku Ryoma or Ryoma Sengoku. I forget how his name lines up. Because Japanese is you say your last name first, and then your first name last. But he had a gun, and he was known for having a dueling pistol. I'm not sure what kind of gun this is. It looks like a revolver, but I don't know Japanese history too much, unfortunately. But he was known to carry a firearm on him, so that is why he gets the gun finisher. So let's get into the sounds. Henshin! And if I'm not mistaken, that roughly translates to something around a new age of Japan waking up or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't remember since, it's kind of hard to remember subtitles sometimes. So let's get into the finisher. In the Omega. And there you go. And the person who had informed me of the textile feel, we'll call it, was the Colors of Plur. So thank you very much. Now, here we have the Toucon boost icon. Now you may be thinking, well, this is clearly the DX, and you're right, but I can show off the differences and tell you the differences just in case you're shopping eBay later, it's not in box, and you're curious on which version you're getting. Easy way to tell is this is black on DX. The Gasha and Candy have a clear shell, so you can easily see the flames because the Gashapon doesn't have lights, and neither does the Candy Toy. Now, that would be okay, but the other problem is the non-DX ones don't have a soundboard, which means it doesn't do some of the sounds, which we'll get into, and which is what I'll show you. Now, that's not too much of a hindrance, and I completely understand why, because this was about $20. Okay, so $20, that's usually what DX stuff is going for when it has electronics, and that's fine. I mean, the price of this is a little too much for what it does, but I can let it slide. And you may be thinking, well, the Goemon line had soundboards in their stuff. They did, but I believe they were a little bit more expensive. Gashapon and Candy Toys are ranging around $3 to $4, maybe $5. So when a line is at like $5, that's not leaving much room for a soundboard. Now the other thing is the Candy and Gasha have a speaker hole, so don't think, oh, I'll just look for a speaker hole. No, it won't have it. It has this in it for it, but it has no sounds, no batteries, and this is the battery hatch here. Just trying to cover up the QR code. So, oh, and I would recommend keeping this tab in. And one other thing I would like to mention is that it seems like the newer Eyecons, and this is something I'll go over in the Houdini and Necrom Eyecon review, is the DX foil seems to be changing up here. This is a more sparkly, and I don't have a DX icon on hand, but this is a very sparkly thing. So again, so it's easy to tell the difference if you know what you're looking for. So I can show off the sounds. And that's just by not having the icon on. So it will read the icon since, you know, there are sounds from the driver. But just keep in mind, you will not get the Ipatsu Toucon in any of that. And I'm gonna be honest, unless you, besides like that early like sound gap, if you don't know that there's supposed to be sounds, which is kind of hard to do if you're watching the show, but if you don't know there's supposed to be sounds out of the icon itself, it doesn't sound like you're missing much. So I will give the benefit of the doubt to that it at least doesn't heavily sound like there's something missing. So, and you won't get the flame finisher. And the Ometama. Okay. And last but not least, the first Legend Rider Eyecon from Kamen Rider Double. And this is a bit of an interesting thing because we are, unlike last year with the Legend Signal bikes, we are getting some of the Legend Rider gimmick for this year. But I will appreciate that they are doing little webisodes of these, so we at least kind of know what they look like, which is something I appreciate, even if it doesn't appear in the show. There's been stuff like Forza, where it's on Gombarizing cards. Stuff like Gaim, where it was also on Gombarizing cards, but we also saw in-show suits. In-show, I mean like in-movie, but you get what I'm saying. So it's nice to see what these would look like. So I appreciate that. But I will kind of complain that, being a Kiva fan, and already this deep into collecting the Kiva stuff, getting some of the older Heisei riders, because the cutoff is Decade. From Kuga to Decade is Premium Bandai. Double to Drive is retail. Gasha and Candy only. So just keep that in mind. But it's a very nice looking icon. It represents both Cyclone Joker and Cyclone and the Joker half. Which is why I pulled out this, because in the movie, the icons are created very similar to the other normal icons. And I believe the story is they have to collect the hero icons. I'm not sure if the Kamen Rider icons, I'm not sure if that just means double to Drive, because that's the only ones we're getting webisodes for, or if they're going to get Kuga through Decade. And we also do know what Kuga looks like, since he's a Gombarizing form. Now, like I was saying, this was what was used for the double icon. And with Drive, it was the Type Speed shift car. Now, I honestly hope that we do get Parka Ghost for these, but I digress. Let's get into the icon itself. And here we have Rider 11, the name, and I have one slight nitpick, is the face is a little odd here. Double has a silver streak down the center, and it's mostly green. Now, I dig this, I can understand not wanting to do a huge amount of colors, and they do at least represent the red eyes. And you have a Joker horn and a Cyclone horn on the other half of the icon. So credit where credit is due. And one thing I really, really love about these icons is that the eye face is the color of the rider's eye. Now, example, double. And stuff like Kiva is gold, Drive is silver, O's is green, so on and so forth. So I really appreciate that, and this makes them heavily stand out. And I appreciate that. So here we go into the setup time, I believe is the official name. Because apparently all these faces have official names, because Toei and Bandai are like that. Now here we have the designation, Rider. Let's take a look at... Now I could pull out Toucon, but... And for example, this would be Kiva. Wow, I didn't even intend to do that. But here we see, instead of just a blank eye, you have Rider, just to kind of show that it's 11. And then we have the face, which is the same face up here. Because unlike the Legend Rider Lockseeds, the forms don't give them a straight up helmet in Gaim, whereas Double, the faceplate is pretty much verbatim the faceplate of the rider. So, and the parka is pretty much verbatim just a parka version of the suit. Take that as you will. And here we have, and the logo of the show is the finisher face. So, let's get into the henshin. Yes, Ghost Driver. Oh, and the other thing is in the webisode, Spectre gets double, O's, and Forze. Ghost gets Gaim, Wizard, and Gaim, and Drive. Now, all the Legend Rider icons say Bachirimina. Yeah, which is Ghost, yeah. So, just keep that in mind. It's not 100% show accurate, but I imagine when they were making the plans for these, they did not intend to have Spectre use them. Oops. Henshin. And here is one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite Legend Rider things. In fact, it might be my favorite. Gaim is a very strong contender, but this is a very, very strong contender. And that is because it takes the henshin sound, throws it to a beat, and also adds in some vocals about what the show was, or the gimmick was. And it doesn't take itself too seriously, like some of the translations of stuff like Gaim is orange and banana, too crazy to be true. Sorry about my bad rapping skills, but anyway. This video is getting a little too long, but... Okay. So, how would I recommend this? I heavily recommend these, especially if you don't have DX Goemon and Ryoma because you just weren't a fan of the Sunglass Slasher. If you can't track down a DX Toucon boost, Gashin Candy is not a bad substitute, but it is missing some features. And I can easily recommend Legend Rider Eyecons, especially if you're a fan of the, I believe the official term is Phase 2 Heisei Riders, which is double through Ghost, essentially, at this point. I'm not sure if Ghost is considered a Phase 2 or if they're considering him Phase 3. I'm not even sure if Phase 3 is a thing yet. I'm rambling at this point. But I can easily recommend trying to pick these up since these are not expensive at all, especially since they come out in usually 2 Eyecons, besides like the metallic versions, we'll just say, for the sake of this, 2 Eyecons per release. And there are 2 releases at a time, usually coinciding, especially with a candy toy. So it's usually 3 non-DX in 1 week in the middle of the month, usually. So I can easily recommend getting these, because Gashapons are usually very abundant. Sometimes they might be a little expensive, but if you can find a good place, I would say at most maybe like $10 an Eyecon with cheap shipping. But I digress. I could easily recommend getting these 3 if you don't want to, these 2 if you don't want to get the Sunglass Slasher. I could easily recommend this just on its own. I can recommend Gasha/Candy Toucon if, you know, the lights and sounds just don't matter to you. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I couldn't think of an ending. Oyasumi! I apologize. Goodbye.